Riverside County is back in the purple, more restrictive tier, which means activities indoors are limited to essential services. Unfortunately, it also affects Halloween celebrations, and the California Department of Public Health has developed some guidelines to keep everyone safe. They recommend outdoor gatherings with no more than 3 households and running no longer than 2 hours. A small get-together in the backyard with Halloween-themed food actually sounds like a lot of fun. You can also create an outdoor candy scavenger hunt for the kids to enjoy, or bring out the projector and show a scary movie. You can also deliver treats to friends' home and leave them as a surprise at their doors. The health department also has guidelines for those who observe Day of the Dead. Consider placing and creating your altar in a front window or outside so others can view from a safe social distance. Or you can go digital and create a virtual space to honor lost loved ones. Share with family and friends via email or social media. If you are visiting the cemetery as a part of your tradition, go with those you live with, wear masks, and maintain appropriate social distancing. Want more ideas on what you can do this weekend? The community is coming together to hold safe, social distant, and virtual events, and we'll share that information with you later in this episode. By now, you have received the County Registrar's Voter Information Guide to assist you when filling out your ballot. Choosing which way to vote on the propositions is a large part of the decision-making process, and with 12 on the ballot, there's a lot of information to understand. And although the guide provides direction, it can be confusing. That, compounded with the dueling yard signs, contradicting television ads, and the mailers we receive from different organizations, it truly results in information overload. In an effort to help sort out the proposition jargon, we created a segment to help clarify the initiative's meanings and effects. It's understandable if the 12 head-spinning propositions on the 2020 ballot are triggering a sense of déjà vu, due to the fact a couple of them aim to revise or reverse previous ballot measures. From attempting to amend the California Constitution to a referendum on cash bail, there's a lot going on. Let's break it down. Proposition 14, borrowing funds for stem cell research. A yes would approve $5.5 billion in bonds to help those with brain and nervous system diseases. Opposers say that California is not in the position to take on more debt. 16 years ago, California approved a similar bond request. Proposition 17, parolees who have been convicted with a felony granted the right to vote. A yes would also allow parolees to run for office if they are registered to vote and have not been convicted of perjury or bribery. Many other states allow parolees to do so, but opposers say they need to prove they are rehabilitated before making such decisions. Proposition 18, the voting age amendment. A yes would allow 17-year-olds who turn 18 at the time of the next general election to vote in the primary and special elections. Opponents say they are still children and heavily influenced by their parents and teachers. According to Ballottopia, as of June 2020, 18 states, along with Washington, D.C., allowed 17-year-olds who will be 18 by the time of the general election to vote in primary elections. Proposition 23, kidney dialysis clinic rules to be reconsidered. Dialysis centers stay open long hours to accommodate the several patients in need. This prop would require at least one licensed physician to remain on site at a center during operating hours, stating care provided must be the same for all patients and no discrimination against source of payment for all care. Also, all infections will need to be reported to the state health department. Those for the prop say it will increase quality care, and those who oppose say it will cause medical costs to be increased and a shortage of physicians who are needed elsewhere. Proposition 24, new consumer privacy rules. A yes vote would be giving consumers new rights in sharing their personal information and to correct inaccurate information. However, consumers will still have to opt out of information sharing, and if they do opt out, it puts in place a mechanism that allows businesses to charge consumers more if they don't sell them their data. Opposers say the measure doesn't do enough to protect consumers on social media platforms. Proposition 25, cash bail. This isn't a new proposal. 2 years ago, the state legislature passed a law to end cash bail. This allows judges to release most misdemeanor suspects while they await trial. However, prior to the law going into effect, the bail bonds industry received enough signatures to place the law on hold, which is why it is on the ballot today. A no vote would restore the money bail system, and a yes would put the law into effect. We thought we would bring in some community leaders to help explain the rest. Today, we have with us Joan Donahue, president of the League of Women Voters, Riverside.
We'll start with 16. It was placed on the ballot by the California legislature and would repeal Proposition 209, which banned preferential treatment by public colleges and other government agencies based on race, ethnicity, and sex. Those in support of Proposition 16 say, despite living in the most diverse state in the nation, women and people of color currently are discriminated against. Prop 16 is one obvious step in the right direction that goes right to the heart of systematic racism. In opposition, the state should treat everyone equally. When deciding who gets into college, who gets a government job, we should not favor one racial or ethnic group over another. Prop 20 would require that the Parole Review Board consider additional factors, such as a felon's age, marketable skills, attitude about the crime, and mental condition, as well as the circumstances of any previous crimes. Those in support, Keep America Safe is the main coalition. They've raised $3.5 million. They say Prop 20 would not increase the prison population. It would only ensure that people convicted of these crimes serve their full sentences. Prop 20 will help stop car break-ins, shoplifting, and other theft that has been on the rise. Those in opposition, Californians Against the Prison Spending Scam is the name of the committee. They've raised $6.5 million. They say, Californians have overwhelmingly voted to reduce wasteful prison spending. Prop 20 reverses that progress. Rehabilitating people before prison release is the most effective way to improve public safety.
A local to Temecula, Adam Ruiz, is also joining us to share his insight. Adam is currently running for Temecula City Council. He is a commissioner on the Community Services Commission for the City of Temecula, Government Affairs Director at SRCAR, Chair of the Southwest California Legislative Council, and first Vice President of the Murrieta Temecula Group.
The first ballot proposition I'll talk to you about is Proposition 15. This is commonly known as the Split Roll Initiative. And Prop 15 seeks to separate residential real estate from commercial and industrial real estate and the Prop 13 protection that goes with each one. So if you're voting in favor of 15, you are saying that you want the commercial and industrial buildings essentially to be reassessed every couple of years at current market value. If you're voting against 15, you want to leave things the way that they are. The next ballot proposition is Proposition 19. This one is another potential property tax issue that we'll be looking at here. A little bit unique to the county of Riverside because we currently have what's known as Prop 60 and Prop 90. And what those propositions do is they allow a homeowner that's 55 years or older to transfer their property tax base when they move either to another property in Riverside County or to one of the other 10 counties that participate in the program throughout the state of California. What Prop 19 is looking to do is to basically eliminate Prop 60 and Prop 90 and make the transfer of your property tax base open anywhere across the state. This would be open to residents that are over the age of 55, that are disabled, or that are affected by a natural disaster like the fires that have been devastating our state. There's no real controversy with the portability. Anyone that should have that ability to transfer that tax base. The other benefit to 19 is that you would be able to use this 3 times, where currently you're only allowed to use it once. And you could buy a property that's more expensive or less expensive, where currently it has to be of equal or lower value. On the other side of Prop 19, however, is a loophole, if you will, that's being taken out, which is known as the inheritance tax. So currently, if you leave a property to your child or to your grandchild, they would inherit your current property tax base. So if you've had a property in the family for many years and that low tax has just kind of been accumulating there, you would be able to transfer that low tax base to your child or to your grandchild. With Prop 19, they would specify in there that the only way you could transfer that tax to them would be if they were to occupy the property. What Proposition 21 looks to do is to give power to cities and counties to have their own influence on rent control on properties that are 15 years and older. Part of the challenge really with rent control is that if you put limit on what landlords are able to do or able to charge, it doesn't make it attractive for them to continue to offer property, number one. And number two, if they're told that they can only increase by a certain amount under certain parameters, a lot of the landlords want to protect their investment. So they may actually see increased rates while they're allowed to, even with a good tenant, to protect themselves for what's going on later down the road. Right now, we have a huge affordability problem and a housing shortage in California. The big concern with Prop 21 is that this is going to drive potential landlords out of the state, making less homes available to rent. Less homes available to rent, by nature, will increase rent and the prices and make it less affordable for people. So there's a big concern that this will actually increase rent, make less homes affordable, and for that reason, the Ledge Council is representing a no on 21.
Weighing in at $206 million, Proposition 22 breaks records as the most expensive initiative in California history. However, that isn't the only thing making this prop unique. It is also the most controversial on the ballot. To help with your decision making, Adam and Joan share their recommendations.
Let's talk about Proposition 22. This concerns rideshare and delivery drivers. It's best to know up front that this proposition is sponsored by Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, and other delivery companies. Each of those three, Uber, Lyft, and DoorDash, have contributed $45 million apiece. This measure is a brazen attempt by some of the richest corporations to avoid paying minimum wage, health care, paid sick leave, unemployment insurance, and workers' compensation coverage. 78% of the drivers are from communities of color, and 70% work more than 30 hours a week.
There's been a lot of discussion since AB 5 was passed that redefined independent contractors. And since then, there's probably been about 30, 40, maybe even 50 different legislation pieces written to try to carve out a particular industry. Some, like the realtors, have been able to be carved out and remain as independent contractors. Others have not. Prop 22 seeks to carve out the gig drivers or app-based drivers and allow them to remain as independent contractors while still giving them some extra benefits that they're not currently receiving right now. Because of that, we know that's a big business for a lot of people, not only full-time drivers, but part-time drivers, especially amongst COVID. So for the opportunity to continue to be pro-business for them, we are recommending a yes on 22.
That's a lot of information to process. But remember, it is important to do your research in order to make the best decisions on issues that impact your life. Voting gives you a voice in shaping your community, region, and state. For more information, go to our website for links. The most important thing is to vote. Be sure to get your ballot in no later than this Tuesday, November 3rd, whether you do it by mail, drop it off at a ballot box, or vote in person.